Eddie Lomchek back on the Coach Tim Beck Show, presented by CDL Electric. That was a late touchdown just before half. I'd like to say I could even throw that to him. He was so open, or I could have even caught that and scored. He was so open, but that was a great play, a big play in that ball game to get that cushion at halftime. Last break, we gave you our Gorilla Nation Mobile Fan Club trivia contest question and multiple choice or multiple guess. If you're like me, if you're a member of the texting service, Solomon Watkins, 3 touchdowns in the win. Who was the last running back to score 4 in a game? The options were Brandon Clark, Caleb Farabi, Terrence Isaac, Ronald Moore, and Jermaine Race. And the answer was A, Brandon Clark started in place of Caleb Farabi in a playoff game at Northwest Missouri State in 2008. And Brandon scored 4 touchdowns in that game. Pitt State was down big, made a huge comeback to get the lead late, only to have their hearts broken. But single-game record at Pitt State is 5. Ronald Moore in 1992. Back-to-back games there, in fact, and then most recently Jermaine Race scored 5 against Southwest Baptist in 2005. Justin Horton of Liberty, Missouri knew that. He'll get a pair of tickets to the Family Day contest against William Jewell, which is in Liberty. He can just jump on their bus, I think, and ride down with them if they'll let him. Pitt State guy, but courtesy of Vital Signs and Pitt State Athletics. To join the Gorilla Nation Mobile Fan Club, text the word Gorilla Fan, all one word, to 66937. Get a confirmation text in return. More information on the website, pittstategorillas.com. Trivia contest each Monday throughout the school year. Player of the game voting during football and basketball season. One more certificate to give away, Coach, and this is a good one. $25 gift certificate to Chatters and House of Wings. Coach Beck diligently in there. Jan Tarter, come on down. Table number 1. That's a hot table. 2 winners tonight and 1 last week. So that's a table to be, a table to play there. So. Like Phil last week, I know that'll get put in use with Jan. Loyal to a fault here, so glad to have everybody here. Coach, 24-7 at half, you had to feel good. You're getting the momentum back in your favor. Emporia was going to get the ball out of the locker room. What was your message like at halftime?
Well, we just talked about how important the opening drive is. You know, sometimes there's a lull when you come out at the half where you can see it happen one side or the other, offensively or defensively, where you come out and that's one of the biggest times I'm concerned about being flat. You come out and sometimes you got to get everything covered, so we get out there and some of them aren't as warmed up as you'd like them to be, but defensively, again, we were able to, they came out and went really fast paced, but we were able to eventually get them stopped.
Bend don't break, 8 plays. They would have to punt it away. You're pinned at your own 21. A good drive, 10 plays. You end up turning it over on downs. I think that's the drive Bryston played his only snaps of the game, but try and go with his physical running presence. But a little shoulder deal. It sounded like he could have played. How is he doing?
Well, he's doing a lot better, and we talked about playing him early, and Doc Safuda took a good look at him, and thought he would be okay, but he was also a little uncertain. That's why he wanted to take another look at him at game time just to see if he thought he could play, and he felt like he could, but when we went out in at halftime, we said, "Do you want to come out with Bryston? Do we want to do this?" So we kind of talked about what we're going to do the opening part of the second half. We talked about bringing him out and then let's see. Well, let's go a series and see how we do here, and see, if we feel like we need that. And so we kind of got through without him, and felt like once you got halfway through the third quarter or whatever, we need to go ahead and play without him.
Well, yeah, and just the 1 carry and 2 snaps. He'll hopefully be fresh for this week. But he did move the ball again. Emporia at their own 18, but here they go moving it. 4 first downs, 13 plays, then a fumble. And the goofy play. It looked like, I don't know if you look back at it, but their quarterback, he pump fake and try and bring it down and just lost it, I think.
Yeah, he just lost it. And we were hoping, as you're on the sideline, you're hoping you're going to scoop it up and get going and pick up some yards with it. But just a good job of getting it recovered.
Fall on that. Nate Dreiling, his second takeaway of the night. He finished with 11 tackles as well. And then you have 2 consecutive series where you get a takeaway, you score, you come back, and in that second half, Jason Spradling starts getting the bulk of your work, and he's not going to outrun anybody maybe for 60 yards, but it seems like he always gets positive yardage.
He's a very, very productive back, and he's a guy that you can count on. If he's going to block somebody, he's going to get him on the ground. In between the tackles, he's got really good vision, really good balance. He's pretty powerful, and I really like the way he runs the football, and he's been very productive for us.
Well, right down the field, and a 6-play, 62-yard drive, 6-yard run to cap it. By this time, you're late in the third quarter because you'd had the ball twice, they'd had it twice, and the quarter was almost over. Emporia, pretty good kick return out to the 39. Third play on their sideline, an interception by Naeem Forrester, and kind of a stop route. It looked like a pretty acrobatic play to go up and get it off the receiver's hands.
It really was a nice play, and that's a position where we're working. Jake Catloff and Naeem Forrester both getting some time, and then every once in a while, Jason Peete comes in at free safety, and Chaz moves back to that position. That's a position that Chaz played all last year. So, we've got a little bit of flexibility there, and Naeem did make a very athletic play.
And then you get the ball and go down and score a 5-play, 65-yard drive in 92 seconds. Watkins wiggles in from a yard out. So, at that point, 38-7, you're early in the fourth quarter. You feel like you about put it away there?
Well, we felt good about what we're doing because at that point, the biggest reason we felt good is defensively we were really kind of honed in on what they were doing, I felt like. So you did feel good. And then, we felt like it's time to get some other players in and let them get after a little bit and see what they can do.
And then Jeff Siebold Jr., transfer from Nebraska Omaha, a guy that gets a number of carries down the stretch. And again, to me, he's kind of a Spradling-type back, a combination of shiftiness and speed and yet pretty compact build. So, for a second game in your program, he gets 11 carries. How'd you feel about his night?
Jeff's going to be a good back for us. He's a redshirt freshman from Lincoln area and went to Omaha and redshirted last year. And then, he kind of started off slow for us in camp because a lot of it's the different style, the way Omaha ran their inside zone plays a little bit different than the way we ran it. And so it took him a little time to kind of get the feel for things. But, he does make some really smooth athletic moves at times where he kind of slides left, slides right, and gets vertical. So, a little bit different running style again, but he's been another guy that's been productive for us.
Yeah, pretty fluid in that shiftiness.
Yeah.
You have 3 or 4 of those guys, and that's got to be tremendously difficult. They're up there at a good program, and then they fold the program with no warning. They come here, they don't know anybody, I guess, except each other. Completely new system, new living situation. Have you talked to those guys much about just how they're getting along?
Well, several of them had friends that were already here. Now, Jeff's one that didn't know anybody here, but again, when we went up and watched, Coach Rampy and I went up and watched some practice and watched some of their practice video, and we really liked how he practiced and some of the things that he did. And so he was definitely a running back that we wanted to try to get on our football team because we felt like he had a bright future and has, have this year and 3 more years of eligibility left. So it was nice to get a good, solid young running back.
Emporia maybe one last shot to get back in the game. They start at their own 28 early in the fourth quarter, 11 plays, 3 first downs, and they end up turning it over on downs. And so you look at their final numbers, not the dominant numbers you had at Western. They get 19 first downs, and they put up 332 total. But I still thought, and how did you feel for the most part with limiting their run game?
Yeah, I thought for the most part we did limit their run game. They brought Ladarian Page in, I believe, and he's a fast back, and he's, he played at Western and then in Emporia. He's can be hard to contain, and boy, our guys are swarming the ball good enough because if you give that guy a crease, he could go the distance on you. So, I feel good about Coach Weimers and Coach Roth and Coach Cullen and Coach Helwig doing a really good job of getting those guys in the right positions.
You start substituting after that. Offensively, you started with backs and receivers before you did linemen, but you're getting 2 and 3 series a game right now for Anthony Abinoa, your backup quarterback, and it's a tough situation when the game's in hand, supposedly. But what are you seeing on film from Anthony right now?
Well, Anthony just needs to get in there and operate and take control of the game, and he really has not done that yet. That's the thing. We want Anthony, and I don't know that he feels comfortable yet. That's the whole thing. So we got to get him in there and get him some reps. Continue to do what we're doing with him, but you'd like to get Anthony in there and really throw it around. And when you're ahead like that, you really want to run the ball and run clock off, run time off the clock. So kind of a tough situation. And there's the reps that he's getting are extremely important because whenever he goes in, and at some point he's going to go in the first half of one of these games, and the game will be on the line, and he'll be just that much more comfortable.
One time with most of your backups, you lost a fumble, another time on downs, but in 2 series, they run 20 total plays, pick up 6 first downs. You were getting some production there.
Yeah, we got some good production. Again, Jeff Siebold made a couple of nice runs and picked us up a first down. We ran a power play on 3rd and 10, was able to go pick up a first down. I wouldn't have had any idea when you got to the end of the game. They said we had 32 first downs. That's a bundle. And so, because of that, I still don't feel like we're in a great rhythm offensively at times, but 32 first downs, you're doing something right.
Still, 265 to 112 rushing, only 3 more total plays than they had, or 1 more offensive play than they had, but plus about 10 minutes time of possession. So time of possession can be deceiving. Maybe one thing with it, I think you'd probably still like to be better on third down conversions.
Yeah, we would like to be much better on third, especially our third and short and fourth and short. I think we're 0 for 4 right now on fourth down conversions. Now, one of those was at the end of the game when we just went ahead and ran the ball because the clock's about to run out. But still, yet we've got some really good goal line package stuff that we're doing and doing some nice things in the red zone. But we've got to be better on third and short and fourth and short.
And one other thing, I don't know we've talked about since you played, but your tight ends, Briston Kelly's experience, and then a boatload of guys are not. You have a couple of redshirt freshmen. You have a junior squad member from the past. You have a true freshman, Mandel Dixon. And I think Briston has 1 catch among those guys. How do you feel with your tight end play right now?
We're not as happy with that position right now as we would like to be. We need more production there. One thing that Briston and Connor Combs and some of those guys can do is they can catch the ball, and we haven't got, really utilized that facet of our offense yet. So, that's something that hopefully we can kind of get them involved in that a little bit. We release them a lot when we're running zone read plays, and so, there's an opportunity to get them the football at times, and we need to take a little bit better look at that. But we've got to be more aggressive at the tight end position and, be able to handle people, defensive ends a little bit better. But I'm going to tell you, Emporia State had a couple of big defensive linemen that weren't real easy to handle. So, it's an experience, and it's a work in progress, but we've got to improve at that position.
All right, we need to take our final break with Coach Beck. When we come back, we'll turn our attention to Truman State, the long trip up there on Saturday. That and more when we return to Chatters right after this. You look at their ball club, Coach Nesbitt, a longtime friend of Coach Rampy. They go back to junior high. They were college teammates. His emphasis has been on defense, and I know that's where he's tried to get to better in a hurry. Very different games for them. 65-3 loss to Northwest. They rally with 13 in the fourth quarter and beat Hayes the other night. So given that, I know they thought this could be a move forward year for them. Because of that win, I would imagine you're going to come out and expecting their best shot. They have a chance to open 2-1.
Well, you can watch them on the sideline and see how excited they play. I mean, their players are really into it. You can see them jumping up and down on every single play. They play with a lot of emotion, a lot of excitement. They get to the ball very well defensively. They're probably not as deep as they'd like to be at some positions, like all of us, but they play with a great amount of enthusiasm. So we'll have to be able to match their enthusiasm and go up there. They're going to put a lot of pressure on us. They're going to blitz from every different direction, and then offensively they're going to throw the ball around, and you got to always be prepared for that. And so it's a good test for us to have to go on the road a long way from home, play a night game, and let's see what we can do.
Their stats are kind of skewed because of how different their 2 games have been, but they have some familiar names at running back and receiver, but it sounds like with this quarterback, they lost a dual-threat guy, Phillip Davis, from last year, and a very different style of player for them at quarterback.
Yeah, this guy, we took a look at him actually on video. He's from Lehigh and was going to transfer, and so we actually saw some video because he'd sent some video in on us, and a really nice player and was a good player for them. So, but he can throw it around pretty well. So, they'll get in 4 wides and spread everything out, and you got to defend the whole field. And so, when you do that, anything can happen.
Play a little keep away and keep that clock running up there. We can get home before sunrise on Sunday, we hope.
The goal.
Coach, thanks for your time. 2-0. We'll look to go 3-0 at Kirksville Saturday. Kickoff from Stokes Stadium, 7 o'clock. The Medicine Shop pregame show will begin at 6, both here and on Rock 107.1 FM. For Coach Beck, I'm Eddie Lomshek. For Cody Wayne, back in studio. Thanks for being with us. Chiefs Kingdom comes your way next. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night.